yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres. Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 26. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this seductive Wednesday evening, Earth date November 19th, 2014. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Brandon Full. Say hello, Brandon.
I took my shirt off.
What was that?
I took my shirt off.
No, you didn't. It's on you right now.
Shh. It's the illusion of audio, Remington.
Oh, yeah. Oh. I thought we said we weren't going to lie to our listeners.
Yeah, okay. We say a lot of things.
We do. We say all sorts of things on a podcast.
I'm just sitting here grating cheese on my six-pack. Low-fat cheese.
You know that we have video out of us, right? And that everybody knows that we don't have six-packs.
Yeah.
I've got a kegger.
Well, we can edit that. We can edit the video.
Right.
It's Photoshop.
Yeah.
Video shop.
Video shop.
Photo video.
Yeah, we can do that. I am not that good at video editing yet.
Clearly.
Ouch. That hurts my soul.
Well, we don't really need a whole lot of video editing because we are just always so hilarious and on point.
Yeah. Perfect. Practically perfect in every way.
Can you edit in a laugh track here?
Yeah.
Okay.
We should.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna start doing a laugh track. That'll be awesome.
Oh god, no! Don't start doing.
We'll
laugh
just
track.
no. We'll
just right there.
No, we'll cue everything.
Every joke we make will have a laugh track.
Yeah, I think that's well. I mean, people need a cue to know when to laugh at something, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. And like anytime I say like a fake joke insulting you, you can add in the like, ooh.
Yeah. Oh.
Or like
an interracial kiss?
Yeah. No, I think interracial kiss is more like, clap, 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 clap.
Yeah.
I don't think if you go past like 1965 that an interracial kiss is going to get people to go, ooh. At least I would hope not.
Yeah. So it's going to get warm in here.
Yeah, I can feel that. It is warm in here.
All of a sudden, just the heater kicked on and we're warm again.
Feels pretty good. I have a giant cup of Arby's Diet Coke.
Yeah?
I have a small ice water.
You're prepared.
I'm ready to go.
So, we came in not knowing anything that we were going to talk about.
No, not particularly.
The consummate professionals that we are.
Which is so much different than how we normally record a podcast.
Right. But, we're going to share some things with you today.
Well, I want to say off the bat first before I read anything. I've been having kind of a shitty day.
Uh-huh.
So, I'm going to do my best to make this interesting, but I'm having kind of a shitty day.
Fair enough. So, you said you had a couple of stories that you wanted to talk about. I figure we can get them off the rail, and then we can bust into some World of Warcraft news, and then finish up with our favorite local comic writer.
Yeah. Well, first I wanted to talk about, I was going to mention this last week, but then I started just talking about the Muppets instead. For absolutely no reason. If you listen to last week's episode, Remington, if he seemed shocked when I started talking about the Muppets, is because I had an entirely different thing I was going to talk about. So going in, that's what he was expecting. So I just decided to talk about the Muppets instead. So I've been, as you know, going to a psychiatrist for the last probably 3-4 months now.
Uh-huh.
And one of the many reasons that sparked it actually was our depression episode.
Right.
Which I think is episode 17, or it might be earlier than that. I don't know. It's labeled Battles Fought and Won, I think.
Fought and Lost, I think.
Fought and Lost.
Yeah.
Well, that puts a fucking downer on it. Now I'm depressed. Thanks, Rem. But yeah, it's one of our episodes, and we had Cody on, and he talked a little bit about cognitive behavioral therapy, which he said had helped him before.
Yeah.
So I started going to a psychiatrist and doing cognitive behavioral therapy.
Okay.
And along with that, they started me on medication. and all that. And I'm not going to go into like what specifically medication, but where on that episode I was talking about how I'd been diagnosed with bipolar.
Yes.
This was like a non-doctor sort of, like just a test I had to fill out for a job thing that diagnosed me as bipolar.
Okay.
So I had an actual doctor diagnose me as bipolar, and I've been on mood stabilizers and going to a psychiatrist to do cognitive behavioral therapy, and I have to say they've helped a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so, I mean, I just want to say, I guess, like, if you're listening to this or whatever, if you know you have, like, a mental issue and it's undiagnosed, you're not taking medication, it's really hard to take the first step, because it was for me.
Yeah.
I mean, really hard. It took me a month to even make the phone call, because it's such, like, a daunting thing. I guess it's kind of hard to describe it to somebody who doesn't suffer from depression, but you get into these, like, depressive moments where you know you need to do something, and because you don't do it, it makes you more depressed, which
Right.
makes you less likely to do it. So it was a huge uphill battle for me to just call and make appointments and go see the doctors. And then those doctors, in my experience, are never easy to get into anyway.
Yeah.
There's always so much bullshit you gotta jump through. But I finally got it, and I've been on mood stabilizers for bipolar for a few months now, and I don't know. I feel like they're really helping me out. I was just wondering what you were doing.
It's just too hot.
Yeah. You can't see it because it's just audio, but in the middle of me telling that, bearing my soul to you, the internet, Remington just stood up and, while staring at me, walked up and opened the door to the room, and I thought he was just going to walk away. Alone again. Naturally. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. And, you know, they've been throwing me on some other stuff, too. Apparently I had ADHD. I didn't know that. So either I do have ADHD and it's helping me, or I'm getting prescribed legal speed and it's helping me. But either way, you know, it was kind of, like I said, uphill battle and stuff, but I don't know, I feel a lot better. So I'd say if you've been kind of putting it off and you feel like it, there's ways you can get it covered through government help. Most insurances will cover it as long as you have to take like tests to make sure, but if you're actually diagnosed with something, I think almost any insurance will cover it.
Yeah.
Almost completely.
Yeah.
So it's definitely helped me a lot. I feel more productive. I've been getting more stuff done, so that's pretty much it. It's weird because I don't get like super depressed anymore.
Yeah.
But I still
You don't have that cloud?
Yeah, it just
or at
because
least it's a smaller cloud.
Yeah, and when I first started the medicine, like, honestly, the mood stabilizers, they slowly had to work me up over 2 weeks. I would double my dose until I got to where I am now.
Yeah.
And the medicine fucked with me hard at first. I went through a whole mental thing of fighting it and thinking, because I tend to overthink things, that, like, I'm taking this medicine that's basically rewiring my brain, you know?
Yeah.
It's not actually rewiring my brain, but it's balancing out chemicals and stuff. And I went through kind of a crisis for a few days thinking about just like how close to animals we are. Does that make sense? Like, this is overthinking it totally, but just how close to animals we are. And then the same way that if, I don't know, a dog has a physical problem with it, you can give it worm medication or whatever. There's just another pill that can fix your brain. It's crazy. And I mean, the therapy's helping too. I think with just medication by itself, it wouldn't do it. I think the combination of medicine and therapy, I think we said that has the way highest success rate, right?
Yeah, I believe
on the depression episode.
You guys did, yeah.
So, yeah, I've been doing both, but it was good. But I mean, I feel a lot better.
Yeah, the changes that I've seen over the past, what was a month or so, 2 months that you've...
I think it's been like 3 months now.
The first month, I'd say, yeah, it started to notice a difference, but it was very subtle. And now, I mean, you're just so much more even-keeled. It's really interesting to see the change.
Yeah, it's weird
from an
because
outsider's point of view.
In another of the overthinking things, I started to notice that I was more even-keeled. Because, like, the nature of bipolar, you get way more depressed. There's just no bottom to it. But you also have manic episodes where you feel really, really, really happy.
Yeah.
And the mood stabilizer cuts out the really, really, really happy, too.
Yeah.
So I was really afraid as I started and realized that I wasn't hitting those, like, manic, just like, holy shit, I feel great moments that would typically be right before a huge drop. I was kind of bummed about that because I was afraid that it was going to cut who I was a little bit, you know what I mean? But that has been replaced more with just, like, general contentment, which is weird because I haven't felt contentment in quite a while.
Yeah.
So...
I like this feeling of content.
Yeah. It's weird to think it's like,
soothing.
oh, so this is how normal people feel most of the time.
Right.
Like something shitty happens and you're just like, well, that sucks. What do I have to do to fix it?
Yeah.
Instead of, well, this sucks. I'm just going to lay in the bedroom with the lights off for 12 hours. Stare at the ceiling and pretend I'm in space. Not that I've ever done that or anything. Not that I don't sometimes wrap myself in my blanket with all the lights off and pretend I'm Boba Fett in Slave One. I literally have done that before. And pretend I'm in like a stasis pod. So, yeah, Boba Fett's pretty cool. Slave One, neat ship, right?
Yeah, that's super cool. It turns and stuff. It's got a ramp. It's got flippy wings.
Yeah, I had the Slave One, like, 90s toy as a kid.
Yeah, I still got one downstairs.
Oh, you have it? That thing was awesome because it had the handle on the back with the trigger, so you could pull the trigger and keep its wings stabilized wherever it was.
Yeah.
That toy was awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I've got...
You had, like, a lot of the big vehicles.
Yeah, I had the Millennium Falcon.
Did you buy those yourself, or were they as gifts growing up?
No, they were gifts. And I don't know where my Falcon is.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
I know that I had it when I moved into the house. I'm pretty sure. And I feel like maybe somebody borrowed it.
Why would somebody borrow your plastic Millennium Falcon?
I don't know, because I have weird friends.
Yeah, hey man, I need to borrow this. Okay.
Yeah.
Just no explanation at all.
Yeah, so I honestly don't know what happened.
Why is the cockpit sticky? Don't you worry about it. Here you go, thanks. It did the job, is all I need to say.
Had the little chess table, the little round alien.
The like hologram chess, whatever that's called. It has some super weird name.
Oh, does it? I have no idea.
All right,
I just called it weird alien monster chess.
I think that's the actual canonical name for it.
Oh, okay.
So because we're great at segues, what do you think about the name of the new Star Wars movie? The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens. Okay, so this is happening after
Jedi.
Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So obviously, I guess I would have to, seeing as how they have the oldies in there. All right. So what was the name again?
The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
So you've got the Force, right?
Yeah.
And it's been asleep for quite a while.
Uh-huh.
Apparently.
Yeah.
This is actually this is a Dueling Ogre exclusive. I got the leaked script, and this is the plot of the story. Okay, you got the Force, like I said, and it's been sleeping. It's been sleeping for a while now.
Okay.
Since 1983, when Jedi came out.
Right.
2015, December, motherfucker wakes up, and he is pissed. So, from there, it kind of turns into, like, it's Star Wars because you have Luke Skywalker, you've got, Harrison Ford as Han Solo. Carrie Fisher kind of takes the role of Bruce Willis in Die Hard.
Uh-huh.
Han Solo is the, long-haired guy from Die Hard. I've never seen Die Hard. I only know this because the script in Star Wars, they specifically reference Die Hard multiple times.
Long-haired guy, what?
Wasn't there a long-haired guy?
You're thinking...
Like a German terrorist. He was like a long-haired guy. He was the bad guy in Die Hard, right?
Oh, well, he didn't have long hair.
Oh. Well, this might be...
Alan Rickman played in the first Die Hard movie, and then the second one was Jeremy Irons, who, if you remember... Do you know who Jeremy Irons is?
I have no idea now.
The first Dungeons & Dragons movie.
Oh,
the villain in that.
Oh, okay.
That was Jeremy Irons. He also was the voice of Scar in The Lion King.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Force Awakens should be pretty cool.
So it's gonna awaken and be pissed.
Yeah. They specifically, in the script, there's more than one moment where Harrison Ford, as Han Solo, says, "This shit's just like Die Hard." And then Chewbacca, like, or whatever. So, I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be good.
I think, I don't want to burst your excitement bubble here, but that sounds more like a fanfic.
No, I got it directly from Walt Disney himself. Walt Disney at CompuServe.us sent me an email with this script.
Uh-huh.
I mean, calling it a
CompuServe?
script... I mean, it's the movie's done filming. Calling it a script, I guess, is a little loose because it was a lot of MS Paint pictures with what they say kind of written in almost a child's handwriting, but you know how hard it is to write in MS Paint.
Yeah.
So, but it looks pretty good. I'm excited about it. They made R2-D2 super racist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's an interesting choice. But I think, overall, I'm kind of excited to see.
I mean, it'll probably go under the radar because most people can't understand R2. They don't speak binary.
Well, and I think the first movie is going to be a little slow because the Force is just awakening.
Yeah.
The second movie...
So, I mean, since it's so old, it's just kind of sluggish. And it's cold in space, so its joints probably hurt.
Yeah, well, and then the second movie, tentatively, is titled The Force Gets Coffee. So... I think it's going to be a pretty ongoing series.
The Force Gets Coffee. Oh, Christ.
So keep your schedules open December 2015, because it's going to be great.
Yeah. That sounds super awesome. The Force Gets Coffee.
So, this has been all over Facebook. Charles Manson's getting married. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Charles Manson, 80 years old.
Uh-huh.
Obviously life in jail.
Yeah.
Is getting married to a 26-year-old woman named Afton Burton, or he nicknamed her Star.
Because he's crazy.
Yeah.
Like batshit, balls to the wall crazy.
Yeah. So, 26-year-old woman?
I don't like your name, I'm gonna call you Star.
Okay.
Yes, Daddy.
They just got a marriage license. They can have up to 10 people whenever they get married. Their wedding date isn't announced yet, so again, keep your schedules open, but they can have 10 guests at the wedding, so.
Maybe you'll get invited.
It might be our first Dueling Ogres cross-country trip, because he's out in California.
Yeah. That would be super messed up. Would you go? Would you make arrangements to go? Let's say Manson just loves our podcast for some really odd reason.
I don't know why we have to just say that. That's a fact, but okay.
I don't think I would go.
If everything was
Sorry,
paid,
Charlie.
if everything was paid, like airfare and stuff, hotel for the night,
Well, okay, I might go for that. I'm really cheap.
with the stipulation though that you have to go and sit through the whole wedding, and you get $100 a day spending money and airfare and a hotel for 3 days.
Maybe
But-
then.
First day you go, you spend the day in prison helping him with his hair and getting his suit fit. Just moral support. You're on best man duty.
Whoa, why do we have to be on best man duty?
Oh, I'm not on best man duty.
Wait, why do I have to be on best man
Because this is your hypothetical now. So you're on best
How-
man duty to go
How
out
did you
there.
turn the tables on me?
I've been watching a lot of Charles Manson interviews.
Oh,
I know how to convince.
this is awkward.
So would you do it? Would you do the best man duties? I mean, he's just fucking insane the whole time. There's no risk of you dying. There's no risk of him attacking you. But he's like, it's like barely talking to a human in the things that he's saying to you.
Well, I mean, I do love Gary Busey, so...
Yeah, you love Gary Busey, but would you hang out with Gary Busey?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
So I think it would be pretty
Yeah.
equivalent as far as hanging out with Charles Manson. So
Sure.
you would have to spend the first day best manning.
Right.
The second day, get there at 10 a.m., you're done, wedding's over, reception is over at 4. So then you have the rest of that day, and then half of the next day, and then you have to catch your flight that night.
Okay.
Would you do it?
Yeah.
Also knowing that this is going to be a huge media deal, and your name will be plastered everywhere as Charles Manson's best man.
Sure.
You would?
Yeah. Because, I mean, I can just clarify that and say, well, he really liked the podcast, so, I mean...
Shit, that would get us some listeners, though, wouldn't it?
Exactly, right?
What would you wear? Would you go and buy a separate suit? You have a suit, right?
I
But
have...
it's like a show choir, like tux suit?
Nah, I wouldn't wear that. I don't even know if I could fit in that anymore.
Yeah. That would be even better. Squeeze into it. Your like belly's hanging out. It's ripped in the back from your arms.
I'll just fix it with duct tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's had all this time to plan as to what he would say when he comes into the room. He's just going to drink his Gatorade.
And nothing. All right. Wait a while, John.
What are you guys doing?
Wait a while. Recording a podcast.
What are you guys doing?
I'm just hanging out.
You know, just talking into microphones for no particular reason.
I like recording my voice so I can
gonna be busy for
listen to
a
the
minute.
timber.
I'm gonna go rub one off real quick.
Oh,
that's
okay,
fine.
yeah.
You don't have to leave the room.
Yeah,
Oh,
he-
okay, never
he-
mind.
yeah, it's fine.
Just pull up a beanbag.
pull a bag, drop trowel, and...
That's
squeeze
actually
one
what
out.
I call it when I masturbate. Pulling the beanbag.
Oh, you guys gotta see my new truck out there. Well, it's not really new. It's got 167,000 miles on it. It's from 1994, but...
But it's new to you.
Well, actually, I've driven it before, so it's not really new to me. But
That really ties into the Manson thing. If I haven't seen it, it's news to me.
Yeah.
The Family Guy joke. For clarification's sake for our listeners.
Ah, I see you picked out one of your better shirts for the video again.
pocket tee with a couple holes. Classy.
Super classy.
What else do I got here? Are you familiar with bum fights that were popular a few years ago?
I am vaguely familiar with them, yes.
There were two guys who ran it.
Yeah.
And just two deplorable fucking human beings.
Right.
Who would pay homeless people very small amounts of money to beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
And then film them and put them online.
Yes.
And they became millionaires from this. Because so many people bought these videos.
Right. Because everybody else in the world is a deplorable human being.
Yeah. They paid two homeless men $200 each to get bum fights tattooed across their forehead. And I saw pictures of them. I've never watched the bum fights because I can see some pretty fucked up stuff, but seeing people at the very bottom rungs of society doing this because it's a way to make money, and there's so many mentally unstable people that are homeless too, and addicts and stuff, that these people are getting money maybe for food or maybe for booze or drugs. It's fucked up to prey off of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, these guys have a warrant out for their arrest now.
Oh, that's
Did you see this news?
No, I didn't see this either.
I'm not going to look up their names because fuck these guys, but they got stopped. They were arrested or questioned and then let go in Bangkok because they were shipping something from Bangkok back to their offices in Las Vegas.
Okay.
There were a couple boxes labeled toys. Well, at customs, they got stopped and searched because they were going to the U.S., and inside the box was a severed baby's head.
What?
A baby's foot, 4 or 5 swaths of human skin with tattoos that were cut off, and the heart of a murder victim. Like a human heart that had clearly been stabbed. Like it was somebody who'd been stabbed to death. The heart was full of stab wounds. They were mailing all of these in separate boxes back to their Las Vegas home, or Las Vegas offices.
That is an entire sack full of fucked up right there.
They were questioned by police, and one of the guys questioned said, I bought them from a street vendor. I can't tell you, I don't know who it is, I don't remember. I was buying them to mail to a friend as a joke. Which, granted, would be a hilarious joke. But here's what's fucked up. So they were questioned by police in Bangkok, and then let go because they technically didn't do anything illegal.
Well, I can't say I agree with your decision.
But I'll defend to the death your right to do it.
Yeah.
They have a warrant, then.
They have a warrant because after they were released, they didn't fly home, they went to Cambodia to leave China. And now they have a warrant because security footage has come out that they stole these from a medical museum in China. They stole these. And the security footage camera shows them entering with a backpack and leaving with a backpack, but there's no footage of them actually stealing it.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious that this news wouldn't come out and the medical museum wouldn't say, hey, we're missing a baby skull, a foot, swaths of human skin, and a murder victim's heart. You know?
You delivered that really well.
That there wasn't somebody up high that was like, oh, that's weird. That's what we're missing.
Wait a minute.
What?
Let me check the inventory records here.
So, I mean, is that just a case of people who are too rich? I mean, these guys aren't billionaires by any stretch. I mean, they might not even at this point be millionaires because they were court ordered to stop producing the videos.
Right.
They didn't lose any of the money, but it was court ordered that you can't produce these anymore.
Yeah.
So is that just a case of being too rich? Just I want this. I mean, if you can hand...
Well, I mean, they didn't even buy it there, they stole it.
Yeah, but I mean, if you can hand 2 homeless people $50 a piece and then film them beating the shit out of each other, you're not morally there anyway.
Yeah.
Why would you want to own those? I mean, I understand in the macabre sense wanting to own those, you know?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if they're in a museum, they're preserved. It's not like a freshly cut off baby's head or whatever. I'm sure the stuff's all preserved to be put in the museum. So, in a way, I kind of get it. In a weird way. Not them stealing it or anything, but, it'd be kind of neat, under glass. That's a murder victim's heart.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just begging for fucking poltergeists, though. I just have a murder victim. I don't know, all these bad things keep happening to me.
But I have this wicked awesome murder victim's heart.
Yeah.
I started right about the time I bought this fucking heart at this museum, but I don't know. It could be anything.
Yeah, weird. I think it's because I cut off that gypsy in traffic. And the last fucked up news story that I have is there was a man in the UK, and this might have been a little bit of an old story, and I'm not going to pull up names or anything. I'm just going to tell the basic story. This 23-year-old guy murdered his father in his house.
Okay.
His father was 6'5", 350 pounds.
Wow, big man.
Murdered him, cut him up, and put all of his body parts in plastic tubs.
Okay.
The way he was found out is that the guy's girlfriend called police after a few months whenever the dad was missing.
Right.
Called police like, hey, I don't know where he is. During this time, the guy lived in an apartment. His neighbors below him came up to him and said, hey, I don't know what's going on, but there's like this weird pink liquid dripping from your ceiling into my house. So they think that that's from where he was trying to clean up and diluted the blood a little bit, so it was pink.
Yeah.
Here's the most fucked up part of the entire thing, though.
Okay.
So police end up searching his house. They find the body parts still in the plastic containers.
Yes.
So he's kept them for however long this is at this point. Maybe they're Tupperware, you know, it's got that seal where you can't smell. Smells don't escape, smells don't get in.
Right.
But they find, and I mean, I'm laughing not because somebody was murdered, but just the ridiculousness of it. They find the plastic containers of his body parts, and he's using them as a TV stand. He's got them all piled up, and his fucking TV's on top of them.
He must have really hated his dad.
I know, right?
Maybe he didn't. Maybe he regretted the decision, just wanted to watch TV with it.
I mean, how nice of...
That's all I ever wanted from you, Dad. I just wanted to watch some TV with
A little
you.
to the left, Dad.
So he's like, oh, did you see that play, Dad?
Yeah.
That was great. It was in the UK, so I guess they're watching UK football or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, like, TV stands aren't that expensive. I mean, you can get a nice TV stand. Sure, you can spend a couple $100 even.
Fuck, you can just... Yeah, crates. Yeah, for
And
real.
go to Goodwill and get a TV stand for like $20.
Yeah.
I can spend an entire day driving around and find somebody throwing away a TV stand for free.
Probably more
and
than
there's
one.
about a 50% chance that it doesn't have dead bodies in it. You know? And I'll take those odds.
Yeah.
I mean, what goes through somebody's head, minus the murder and everything else? You know, I get, like, there's enough studies out there on murderers and heat of the moment or whatever. Then to cut a body up. Maybe that's just self-preservation of like, fuck, what have I done? I gotta do something.
Right.
But then to put it in plastic Tupperware containers and then just keep them in your house.
Not just keep them in your house, but not even hide them. Like, out in the freaking open and putting your television on top of them.
I mean, I'm guessing they couldn't have been clear. If they were like clear Tupperware, I mean, he's got a girlfriend, right?
Right.
His girlfriend's coming over to watch movies and stuff.
Why do you have a bunch of meaty parts that your TV's sitting on top of?
Yeah,
that's my dad.
It's just my meat TV.
Yeah, it's just...
So
That's
that's the
weird.
last fucked up story I had.
That's weird. That's all very weird. So, yes, Warlords dropped the 13th, and it was a mess.
Oh, it was?
Yes, it was a bit of a mess. So many people were logging in, and they even figured that there would be, that it was bogging down the system. On top of that, launch day comes, and so do the DDoSers.
Is that just pretty much on par? Do the DDoSers always come with new launches?
No, not necessarily for World of Warcraft, but since the most recent DDoS attacks they were hitting
Directed denial of service.
attacks. They basically,
They'll flood the server with a bunch of IPs, just pinging it all at once to try to crash it. They'll try to overload it with a bunch of hits, basically.
So yes, for those of you who don't know what DDoSing is, like John over here in the corner who can't really be picked up too well on the mics, so he should probably keep his mouth shut.
Or talk loud like a normal
Or
human.
talk loud, yeah.
What?
If you want to be in on this podcast, John, which I'm perfectly okay with.
I don't know, he looks comfy as shit over there.
He does.
He's
jealous.
like laying out like Cleopatra on the floor, leaning on a beanbag, like head in his hands.
I really want to get some dates to feed to him or something. Cafe date? How about next Tuesday?
Cha 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 cha.
I like Mel Brooks. Anyway, it launches, it's having its own problems, and on top of that, DDoSers are attacking the servers as well.
Is there any particular reason? Did they give a reason? Or just...
They just like fucking with people's fun.
Yeah.
Somebody else is having fun, let's ruin it because that's fun for us.
Yeah.
Jerks.
Yeah.
Dicks with computers.
Okay.
So anyway.
How many more ways can you say that?
Probably half a dozen. Give me a minute.
Alright, you finish what you're saying and then I expect 4 more.
I'm not doing that.
Alright.
So
until next time, ogres.
So, for the next few days, the DDoSers end up dropping out a bit, and that's less of a problem. They start doing their patches, and everything's running fairly smoothly now. The expansion itself is a lot of fun. The leveling process is very well organized, I would say. You go from quest hub to quest hub, and it's very well laid out. There's a lot of great storyline going on. It's moving along at a steady pace. It doesn't feel like there's any dead time. And the cutscenes. So when you finish off a story hook, they have a cutscene. And these cutscenes are fucking beautiful. And they're short, but they're well scripted as well. So if there's anybody out there power leveling trying to get to 100 real quick and you're skipping those cutscenes, go back when you do them on an alt or something and watch those cutscenes because they're totally worth it.
And I'm sure you can even just look up the cutscenes on YouTube at this point, right? Well, Blizzard might pull them down. It might be copyright, whatever. I think that's a technical term, copyright, whatever.
Yeah, copyright, whatever. Blizzard is usually pretty good about not doing that as long as you're not revealing...
Like beta stuff or whatever.
Like beta stuff from the PTR. And even then, I mean, you can... I think people will stream stuff for the beta as well. They're not too hard on people about that because they recognize that that's publicity for them.
Yeah.
And their game is 10 years old, so I mean, the more people they can get in, the better, really.
Well, you were showing me that you had a full fortress and shit.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even... I didn't realize, I thought, fortress, one big building, but you have like a whole little tiny town, right?
Yeah, it's a fort with different vendors and all sorts of things. We'll get to the garrisons in a second. So, with the launch, WoW subscribers are now over 10 million. This is up from, I think they were down to like 7.6 million at the end of Miss Pandaria.
Mm-hmm.
Pandopolis,
yeah.
As you like to call it. They've picked up 3.3 million copies were sold the day of launch.
That's insane.
Yeah. And it's freaking great. It's really probably one of the best and most well laid out expansions that I have played since I began. Since, I had that wonder in my eye of the World of Warcraft and being thrown into an MMO for the first time, really.
Yeah.
Which was all John's fault.
John got you into World of
Warcraft?
Warcraft?
John got me into World of Warcraft, yep. On free servers.
Are free servers technically illegal? Or not illegal, but technically against the terms of service?
You just have to own the game. Because hosting your own server, you're really, I don't really think... I'm sure there's some things that could be done illegally, but like, for example, you can play Pokemon on a Game Boy emulator. As long as you actually download the specific emulator these people have, you don't actually modify the game itself. The ROM stays the same, but when you play it on this emulator, it connects you all together, and you can play like Pokemon Red as an MMO, walking around with all your friends and chatting with them and stuff. But all the aspects of the game that aren't original run from the emulator. They don't interfere with the original copy of the game.
I was actually looking up recently the legality of emulators, and they're technically not legal.
Yeah, well...
Even if you own the game, they're technically not legal.
As long as the console's at a certain age, it's legal as long as you don't copy the original hardware or software of the... Like the Nintendo, that's how they can sell these phony knockoff Nintendos nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been so long, the hardware patents aren't good anymore. You just can't copy the exact same thing they did.
Well, I know the hardware patents aren't after a certain time, but the software patents for properties hold still.
That does the same thing as you, just totally different code. It might be a little slower. That's how, when people patent these mathematical equations and whatnot in their software, that's why you can't use that specific way to do it. You have to figure out another equation that might be a hair slower, but that's what makes it legal.
So that's why, I was at our local dollar store a few days ago, and I saw that they had a Sega Genesis system. And it was loaded with 80 games, and then it had a cartridge slot up top where it would take Genesis games into it.
The hardware is not the same as an original Sega. It just does the same thing.
Because I read there's a system you can get, I don't remember, I think it's only $75 too, and it's got ports for 5 or 6 different systems. And the way that those work is you put in the game, and it's not actually running the game how a Sega would. It's taking the information off of the cartridge and downloading it and basically emulating the system to run that game from the cartridge. So, that's how World of Warcraft works.
So yeah, going back to the garrisons. The garrisons have to be one of the most fun aspects of Warlords of Draenor.
I mean, it's really the first time they've had any sort of customization outside of what you look like, right?
Right. And it's basically World of Warcraft's answer to player housing. They wanted to do player housing for a long time, and people have been yelling for player housing for a long time as well. But they wanted to be a little bit different. And I think that they've achieved that. So your garrison is your own little hub, and you can set up buildings as you get architectural plans. While questing out in the world, you'll find them on things, you'll complete quests to get them. And you can place these buildings in your garrison, and they provide some sort of buff.
Here's my question, because I saw your garrison,
right,
and the way it was laid out. And the way it was laid out was kind of in a circle a little bit, kind of like a half circle or so, a sickle shape.
Yeah.
Can you put whatever building in each of those slots, or is it like this slot is just for a cave? And when you unlock that cave, this cave's gonna go here. Or can you do the quest to unlock the cave and then say, I want to put my cave over here? Can you lay it out, or is it going to have the same layout and then you get to decide what goes inside them?
I believe, if I remember correctly, there's 3 levels to the garrison. When you first start off, it's really just wooden walls. You saw my second level garrison. It has the big stone walls and the buildings that are much bigger. When you first start off on your garrison, it's really more of like wood walls surrounding it. More like a fort.
Okay.
And I think you have 2 slots starting off on that. So when you get to level 2 garrison, you get a couple more slots. And these slots are different sizes as well. So you have a list of small buildings, a list of medium-sized buildings, and a list of large-sized buildings. And you can choose to place those buildings in certain slots in the garrison.
So there is a bit of customization, not just in the buildings you put, but where you put them.
Right. So
even if you go to somebody else's garrison who has the exact same buildings as you, they could be laid out a different way.
Slightly, yes.
Slightly, yeah.
Yeah. So like in the second level garrison, both small plots are right next to each other, right across from each other. So I have, as you enter my garrison, I have a bank on the left, which is called the stock house, or maybe storehouse, I think. And then on the right is my alchemy lab. Well, in somebody else's, if they had the exact same thing, they could be reversed.
Okay.
So the slots are always where they're at.
Yes, but the slots...
But you have different choices for what's...
Right.
Okay.
So where I have a bank, somebody else could have an alchemy lab and then a gem cutter lab, or a gem shop if one of their professions is gemming.
So you said, I was asking you earlier, it's your own private space. It's like its own separate instance. But if you're in a group, if you're in a party, then other party members can come to your garrison. And whoever is the party leader is whose garrison you can go to?
Yes.
Can party members fuck it up in any way?
No, not really. There are garrison-specific quests called invasions that happen. The other night, I did my invasion on... No, I didn't do it on my own. I waited around to where I could pull somebody in. So it was me, Ginger, and Pokestick, one of our guild members. And I had the 2 of them come to my garrison, started the instance, the scenario is what it's properly called. Started the scenario, and we ran around and killed these orcs that were trying to
like attacking your garrison.
Invade my garrison. Right. And then we switched party leaders, and we went over to Ginger's, and we did it for hers.
Oh, okay.
And then the other night we did it on one of our alts. So
if you're not in a party, like if I'm not in your party, your garrison is effectively locked to me. I can't get into it or see it or anything.
Correct.
So being in the party is like the key kind of to get in.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's like a vampire. Other players are vampires, and they can't get into your garrison unless you invite
them in. So if the garrison is locked, and like being in the party is kind of the key, what if I were to create a character that was like a garrison keeler?
A what?
I've been waiting like 10 minutes to bust out a garrison keeler joke. You know Garrison Keeler? You don't know him at all?
No.
He does like...
The joke is completely lost on me.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, somebody out there is listening to that and had a good chuckle at my Garrison Keeler joke.
Alright, so who's this Garrison
Let's just move on. He did a radio show and he does a podcast now. It's the most popular podcast ever. Even more popular than like the Nerdist and Adam Carolla. It's,
even more popular than us?
That's what I was going to say.
Surprisingly enough, yeah, even slightly more popular than us. I can't remember what it's called. It's like This Country Home or something. He tells a bunch of stories about Lake Wobegon. None of this sound familiar to you at all? He tells stories of growing up in Lake Wobegon, Mrs. Crothers' apple pies were the talk of the town, but then the Honeybee Festival started, and boy, the Johnson boys were sure in a pickle that night. He does that, good hometown country.
No, I've never heard of that.
I don't know how you could ever go this long in life and have not heard of Garrison Keillor. He's been doing this shit for 20 years.
No.
It's not comical at all?
It's comical in a down-home country way. Those Johnson boys always getting into a mess, and they came running out of that cellar like the devil himself was chasing after them. Turned out it was just...
popular podcast.
Yeah, dude, it's been around for 20 years. It was on NPR and shit.
It's fucking 2014.
People love it. People love Garrison Keillor. He's an institution. He's like Thomas Kincaid paintings.
Who? I'm just kidding.
Okay. He's like that. I think he's like Thomas Kincaid paintings in the fact that he's just been around so long that people just kind of yeah, I know it. Yeah, I listen to it.
I want to hear Christopher Walken do a podcast.
Fortunately, we have Christopher Walken right here. Christopher Walken,
hello, Brandon. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, I didn't see you come in. How,
Well, I sneak into places all the time.
Yeah, I've heard that about you.
I'm a very sneaky guy.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, I was just curious about your opinions on, Warlords of Draenor.
I don't play World of Warcraft.
Yeah, understandably.
Because that's for nerds.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
You know what? I'm just gonna go.
Okay. Are you gonna go out the front door, or are you just gonna let yourself out how you came in? Oh, he's gone already. What the hell?
Jesus.
Remington, you would not believe it. You just missed Christopher Walken.
What?
I think he had some sort of brain injury because he sounded horrible, but... Alright, you got anything else to say on Warlords?
So, Ginger and I have been playing it on our mains together, which, as you've stated, is just adorable.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going through the quest lines together, and that's fun. A lot of times Poke will come along if he's not doing anything as well.
So he's like the little third wheel World of Warcraft?
He really is. God bless him, he really is. We give that kid so much crap.
How old is he?
And, well, he's about our age, but he still acts like a kid, and I think occasionally he listens, so maybe he'll get around to listening to this one. Bless you.
I think we need to make some magic happen. What kind of character does he play?
Death Knight.
What race?
No.
Gnome Death Knight?
Yep.
Okay, if any ladies out there are listening and are interested in a Gnome Death Knight, did he reach level cap yet?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Level 100 Gnome Death Knight. You can look him up on World of Warcraft. His name's Pokestick. What else does he like?
He's on the Bloodhoof server.
What else does he like? Let's make a connection here.
He
obviously likes blood and doing knightly things.
In a deathly fashion.
Oh, he's a Death Knight, that's right.
Yes.
So he likes death.
Well, they have abilities that's like blood
knights.
or whatever.
Hey, we're getting off topic.
Right.
Does he like movies?
Yeah, he watches a lot of Netflix.
Okay. He likes a lot of Netflix.
Yeah. He's good. He's a good cuddle buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he look like?
He's pretty high strung, so you need to be a pretty good looking girl because he's a little fickle. He's a little fickle. He's a fickle pickle.
I mean, to be fair, he's playing World of Warcraft with you and Ginger as a couple. So I think he might need to lower his standards a little bit as far as expecting a good-looking girl. I think at this point, if he's spending this much time on World of Warcraft, he probably needs somebody who's more focused on talking to him, a conversationalist.
Yeah.
Than
that's
caring
what
about...
I keep telling him, but he doesn't listen.
So,
So,
what would you say on a scale of 1 to 10, what number of girl is he looking for now? Would you say?
well, all men are looking for a 10.
Well,
He just hasn't come to
all men need to also be reasonable.
Yeah, he just hasn't come to the terms of being realistic either, so.
Okay, so what number should he be looking for?
I think if he would just lose some of his high stringiness, he could probably get a 7.
Okay. So let's go
Because
ahead and say
He has
a
an
5.
Okay, we'll shoot for a 5.
Maybe a super friendly 4.
Right.
So if you meet any of this criteria at all, make sure to let us know on the Dueling Ogres Facebook page.
Yeah.
Or message Remington specifically. I think we can make a love connection happen.
We could.
I think we should.
It would be very sweet. He would appreciate the hell out of it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, World of Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shaft.
So yeah, that's all I had for Warlords.
Alright, now that all that boring shit about World of Warcraft is out of the way. James Patrick,
Yes.
comic book writer, worked for DC, done some independent work. Think he's done stuff for Marvel? I don't remember. It's been a while.
No, I don't think he's done any Marvel, but he did IDW.
Okay. We've been talking about, we had him on 8 or 9 episodes ago, I don't remember, and interviewed him. He was running a Kickstarter. I think it had finished at that point. Yeah, it had finished. It was, whatever. I'm awful at this. I've done podcasting forever.
There was still, I think it was at the very end of the Kickstarter, he was a little tight-lipped about the jimmycrumb stuff because it just hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
It was all in the works, so it was finishing up.
Well, the first 2 issues are out.
Yes.
PDF format.
Yes.
I read the first 2.
I did as well.
You did?
Yep.
So what'd you think of them?
I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I think we both agree, because we talked a little bit about this, last week, when we were talking about coming up for it?
Yeah.
I think we both tend to agree that the way jimmycrumb talks is almost hard to follow sometimes. Is that how we put it?
No, I wouldn't say it's hard to follow, and I thought the comic was really good. I thought the art was really solid.
I agree.
The premise of it is really good. I would say go check it out, because I think really giving any of the premise away kind of gives away what the comic is so far, so I don't want to go into the premise really.
Yeah.
jimmycrumb is a young boy. I think he's around 10, somewhere in there.
8 or 10, I believe. Yeah.
Somewhere in there. The way he talks is almost robotic.
Right.
And I know that it's intentional.
Yes.
Because the other children don't talk like that.
Correct.
So my only issue with that was, so far it hasn't explained why he talks like that.
Right.
But we're only 2 issues into what I think is a 4-issue run.
I think you're right.
So it's not going to be an ongoing thing. It's a one and done. It's 4, maybe 5, but I'm pretty sure it's 4.
Yeah.
So there's 2 of them out so far, and it hasn't explained that aspect of him, and that would really be my only critique, is it just kind of left me wondering, like, I don't get what this is.
Right.
So it could be, and probably is, something that will be explained further on, because at the end of issue 2, there's a lot of explanation.
Yes.
But it still leaves stuff up in the air. Obviously, there's 2 more. It's going to explain a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's really my only critique. I thought the writing of the characters were really solid. The art, I said, was really good. The premise is really cool.
Yeah. It's definitely something a little fresh. Something that I don't think we're used to. In just reading, like, you kind of get sucked into just superhero. So now we have this kind of anti-hero.
Yeah.
We could call him.
I'm a sucker for the anti-heroes, for the villains as heroes.
Yeah.
And not saying that he's a villain, but he's definitely an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Something I liked about it, too, is that as we get older, there's only so many stories that really can be told, you know?
Right.
There's always any new stories, because we've experienced so much, feel like rehashes. We can look at something new and say, oh, this is just like this movie and this book put together.
Right.
It's hard to have new things approach us as we get older. But this, you know, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it feels really fresh.
Yeah, it's an entirely new take on something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're being kind of vague, but it's just,
yeah,
it's one
really
of those things you want to follow and read through. It's good though. It's a really neat and it's
yeah,
an
we really
original
don't want to
premise.
give away a whole lot of it. So definitely check it out. It was a good read.
Yeah.
I am excited to see the next couple of issues.
Yeah.
Because I do really want to know what happens. And like I've said in previous podcasts, I don't read a whole lot anymore, and something really has to grab me immediately for me to be interested in what's going to happen in the rest of the story.
Yeah.
And the way that Jimmy talks while knowing is intentional, even the other kids, it seems like maybe their vocabulary is a little higher than what I would say an 8-year-old would have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of taken me out of it a little bit, but the actual premise and the storyline is enough to keep me interested that I want to know what happens next.
Yeah, well, I didn't see anything wrong with the way the other kids talk, because really the only kids that you interact with are Jimmy and that girl.
Right.
His, not girlfriend, but, you know, female friend.
Yeah.
And she doesn't talk in, like, the very matter-of-fact, very adult way, and not adult, you know, in, like, a cursing way, just in a very, like, proper, matter-of-fact way.
Right.
But I didn't see any problem with her talking older than she is, because it's made clear that she's like a very intelligent student.
Right. So, and I don't have a whole lot of interaction with kids Not as much as I used to.
Yeah.
So it may just be that kids are talking a little more intelligently nowadays than what I would think.
Well, I think you've just been talking to stupid kids.
Well, there's that too. I love stupid kids because they're the most fun.
That's true. You can get them to do all kinds of shit.
So yeah, if you haven't yet, oh man, I wish I would have. James, if you're listening to this, or Keisha, if they still have a way to get a hold of the comic, put it in a comment on our Facebook page, if you would please.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember for the life of me how else anybody can get a hold of it.
Well, and if they're interested, I'm sure they could go to the Jimmy Crumb Facebook page.
Sorry about that. I for some reason, I didn't even think to prepare for that. So, that was released under the 21 Pulp banner, which is their new comic company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess is what your publishing company?
Yeah.
I guess is what you would call it. And James is working on their next feature, which is also a 4-part comic called Imposter, with an exclamation point.
Imposter!
Imposter! And they've launched a Kickstarter for Imposter as well. And I think just to save me fumbling through an explanation, I'll go ahead and I'll play the Kickstarter video.
Hello, and welcome to the Kickstarter for Imposter, the second book by 21 Pulp, with interior art from Martin Szymanski, a cover from Victor Santos, and created and written by me, James Patrick. So, what is Imposter? Imposter is a 100-page color print graphic novel, but it also will be split into 4 parts, which can be delivered to Kickstarter backers as each individual section is completed. But Imposter is really about this guy, Hale Barker, who learns that this guy, Terry Forrester, is actually these guys: the vigilante Centipede, the interplanetary hero Captain Apex, the adventurer Jungle Jack, the sorcerer Dr. Oculus, and a whole bunch of other heroes. There's even some villains. Imposter asks, what if one man was every single hero who ever existed? What if some genius, a sort of superhero Tesla of his time, came up with all these figures to keep evil at bay? And then what if he had to be replaced to keep the rules? And there's more, a lot more. Secrets, lies. In Imposter, nothing is what it seems. Not the man who created all of it, and not the man who has to take it over. The book is about a lot of things, but one theme is deception, and how it affects all the people we love. Saying anything more would be spoiling. Imposter also uses a canvas of genres like few other books. It's crime, it's sci-fi, it's adventure, it's horror. It's by me, James Patrick, writer of stuff like Batman and Star Trek. It's by this guy, Martin Szymanski, an amazing newcomer. And it has covers from this guy, Victor Santos, an artist on stunning books like Mice Templar, Furious, and Black Market. Imposter is also the second book from 21 Pulp. The first book, The Monsters of Jimmy Crumb, was funded, has 2 parts already delivered, and is getting great reviews. So there you go. If you want to read a kick-ass action, adventure, sci-fi, horror, superhero comic, if you want to dig into all these secrets and lies that are going to be uncovered, check out Imposter. Just pick one of the awesome packages we're offering, including everything from digital copies, the print book itself, and all the other great incentives, including posters, trading cards, original art being drawn into the book, and much more. So get ready, because here comes Imposter, and nothing is what it seems.
So I guess you could call that a commercial for Imposter.
Yeah. That's what that was.
Yes. So if you're interested in any of those things, sci-fi, action, horror, there was a 4th one. Space.
No, that's sci-fi.
That's totally
Space-fi.
sci-fi. Space-fi. Go check out Imposter
Fantasy.
on Kickstarter. Hero. Back it. They are at...
They're a little less than halfway there so far.
Yeah, they're a little less than halfway there. So if you like Jimmy Crumb, if you supported that, go ahead and support Imposter as well. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to read.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's going to be really working a lot of stuff in there.
And there's a wizard.
And there's a wizard.
I'm seriously all about wizards now.
Oh, yeah?
That sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but I'm totally not. I don't know what it was. There was a switch in my brain. And I just think wizards are fucking awesome. Like, they've always been pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I'm past that now. Like, I'm 2 steps away from getting a fucking wizard airbrushed on my hatchback car.
That would be sweet.
I love them. Giant beards.
See,
and
it used to
pointed hats
be
and shit.
shaman. You have always had a hard-on for, like, shaman, druids, stuff like that.
Well, that's in just straight up D&D story. I've always liked playing the shaman.
Right.
From that Green Ronin book that I had, the shaman class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just been,
all about wizards.
Yeah, I've been replaying Morrowind, and I made a straight up wizard.
Yeah.
It's a blast. So, yeah, I've just been, my last character on Skyrim before was a straight up wizard.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just awesome. Love wizards. I'm workshopping, that's going to be on my tombstone. Brandon Full, 1984 to 2017. Loved wizards. It's going to have a QR code. It's going to have a QR code on my tombstone, and when you scan it, it's going to take you to fucking wizards.com.
Like, wait.
We need to copyright that, by the way.
Okay.
Or we need to grab the page, fuckingwizards.com.
Fucking wizards. Not like wizardsfucking.com. Not to be confused with that.
No, that's
Will it be like a sister site?
It's a subsidiary.
Okay. Alright, I think that wraps us up tonight.
Next week we're doing Wizardcast.
No, we're not. We're doing
2 hours of wizard stories.
2 hours of wizardry. Spell casting, reagents, magical animals, books galore,
tomes, grimoires,
bestiaries,
tea candles,
librams,
Chuck Taylors, at a reasonable price. Fuck.
Oh, Jesus.
Alright, yeah, next week we're talking Thanksgiving stuff.
We're going to talk Thanksgiving stuff. We're going to stuff that turkey. The
metaphorical
the proverbial Thanksgiving
The turkey is your ears.
Yeah. We're gonna
and the stuffing is our words.
Yeah. Is our audio.
And the giblets are our content. So next week, you're gonna download this podcast onto your computer, your Windows phone, your Android device, your iPod, whatever. You're gonna download it. As soon as it's done downloading, you put those earbuds in or turn up your speakers. Cranberry sauce and gravy. All you're gonna smell. That's our guarantee.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
100% guarantee. No returns, please.
Yeah.
Alright. And if you have any questions or comments, or you'd like to hear yourself mentioned on air, you can reach us on Twitter at DuelingOgres, email us at duelingogres@gmail.com, or leave a comment on the podcast page or Facebook. Also, be sure to give us a 5-star review on iTunes and a thumbs up or a comment on Stitcher. That helps to boost us higher on the cool kids list. So until next week, Ogres, keep your clubs blunt and your tusks sharp. Good night. Oh, Bobby. Bobby. Bobby.
What are you doing with your life, Remington?
Bobby Hill. How in the legend of the West, one name stands out of all the rest. The man who had the fastest gun, his name was Bat. Batmaster's son. Oh, I'm stupid. Turn my fucking Wi-Fi off. Brandon, why am I so stupid?
I've often asked myself that same question about you, Remington.
Well, that's not very nice.
I guess it ain't.
You got a lot of nerve. A lot of nerve. Why did I close those show notes? I'm so stupid. Everything I do is stupid. I'm the stupidest. Jesus. Mellow yellow with high C mixed with
Kickstart? That's disgusting.
You would try it.
I don't like the taste of Kickstart.
Well, it doesn't like the taste of you, Brandon.
Good.
Good.
There's that thing.
Oh, listeners. You should be very glad that we don't have video feed of the before show. I've got no pants to hold me down. I've got no strings on me. I like how I've been okay all day, and all of a sudden my fucking sinuses are just going crazy for no particular reason.
That's because your body ruins everything we try to do.
I know, it really does. So I was trying to keep the news stuff up on my tablet so I wouldn't have to turn away from the mic, and then my tablet died. The battery's starting to go bad in it.
So, well, I can see your notes over your shoulder, and the first notes you have are for Warlords of Draenor.
Draenor?
Warlords of Draenor.
Warlords of Draenor.
Which is that WoW thing.
Yep.
Because we definitely didn't spend enough hour last week talking about it. Let's talk about Warlords of Draenor more.
Well, I said that I'd revisit it a little bit after the actual launch of the expansion.
Right when I said that, that's when you need to add in the audience going, ooh.
Indeed.
Remember, somebody should know.
What's that?
There's a piece of candy on the counter. I hate it.
What candy was it?
It's white
Was it candy?
and wax paper.
Was it candy?
It was,
They're so big right now.
it was saltwater taffy.
That explains why my teeth hurt.
Who the fuck has saltwater taffy in like late November?
It was a gift from somebody who came back from the beach to Ginger from work.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
So I'm just going to come in where I left off. I said and then, okay, for the imposter.
I'm not sure what you're...
Shut up.
Are they going to be able to hear it?
Yeah, they should be.
Why don't you just link to it on the Facebook page?
Because it'll be more fun this way. I completely lost my train of thought. I'll just cut to the script.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
How have we never got better at ending these?
I don't know, because we're terrible, terrible actors.
We're not
And
acting.
apparently I shut my script down like an idiot.
We're not even acting. We're just being ourselves.
I know. Which is
We're
even
just
more
terrible
sad.
at finishing things.
Yeah.
That's what all of my girlfriends have told me. I'm just terrible at finishing things. I've never understood what that meant until right now.
Right.
I'm terrible at ending a podcast.
Well, at least you're not the only one.
Yeah. They always say it between tears
Right.
and like this unsatisfied look on their face.
Yeah.
Which is funny because we just started this podcast a year or so ago, and I've been dating girls for, close to 20 years now, so.
Yeah.
Huh.